Ordinances, Section D, we, the jury, unanimously find that Henry Segura should not be sentenced to death as to each of the 4 counts. Mr. Brill, have I accurately published the verdict of the jury?
Yes, sir.
Either side wish to have the jury polled?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's that?
Yes.
They have found that he's not subject to the death penalty, and you want them polled?
Yes.
Okay. Juror number 1, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole?
Yes, it is.
Juror number 2?
Yes.
Juror number 3?
Yes.
Juror number 4?
Yes.
Juror number 5?
Yes.
Juror number 6?
Yes.
All right. It's been confirmed by the jury. Bill appears to be in order. It will be filed. So I guess the words you've been waiting to hear were done. I know this has been a long and arduous task for y'all. We call upon jurors to do a pretty Herculean job, and they work hard at it, and we appreciate it. As I said earlier, you've been the most reliable jury for this length of time that I've ever had. We haven't had a single problem from day one. We've not had a single time in the morning or after lunch or at any other point where we had to wait on you. I appreciate that. I try to run court on time, and if everybody runs on time, it runs smoother for everybody, and I appreciate that. Let me make you aware of one right that you have as a juror. You have a right not to discuss your deliberations. That doesn't mean you're prohibited from talking about them. You can talk about them if you desire, but you have every right to simply say, I'd prefer not to talk about it. As I say, that's entirely up to you. It is quite likely that someone is going to approach you and ask you about your decision making. It's possible they approach you to find fault with what you've done. You have every right to simply say, I'd prefer not to talk about it. We will be giving you a letter from the court as you leave. It will express our appreciation in writing and give you a little certificate, but it'll also do one more thing. It does give you the ability to contact some counselors that have agreed to meet with jurors at least on a one-time basis for free to talk and see whether you feel like you need further assistance along that line. There'll be a list of those counselors in a letter that Mr. Wills will give you as you leave. You should not hesitate to take advantage of that. I know we've shared some pretty awful things with you here in this courtroom, and I regret that we have to do that. But our system works on jurors coming in and listening to the evidence and making a decision. So we do appreciate the time and attention you've given us. I'd ask that everyone stay in the courtroom until we get the jurors safely out of the courthouse. We'll allow you to go out with the deputy and have a wonderful day. And I know you hope not to see me for a long time, so y'all have a good day. All right. Any reason not to proceed to sentencing at this time?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all prepared the score sheet?
We have not, Your Honor. They're all counts for capital counts, so therefore there is no score sheet on this. Normally we have to do it on one when there's not a capital.
Okay.
So.
All right. There's only, all of the sentences require a life sentence. I guess the only issue is the concurrent or consecutive nature of the sentences to be imposed. I'll let you be heard, Mr. Prince.
Leave it to the court's discretion.
All right. Mr. Fuchs.
Your Honor, the state would ask for a consecutive sentence on each given the nature of the offenses and the fact that there are in fact 4 victims in this case. They should always be accountable for each one of them.
Okay. I did have the clerk, I'm sorry, do we want to present a victim impact statement?
No, ma'am. No, sir, excuse me.
Okay, all right. I had the clerk figure out jail credit. I don't know whether this was discussed with you, but I know there was some time in Minnesota. Clerk has calculated 3,002 days of jail credit. What was the starting date you used, Madam Clerk?
It was, we helped with that. It was September the 2nd, 2011.
All right, and he's been in custody since that
Correct.
date. Is there any dispute on that amount?
There you go.
Okay. Any other issues either side wish to raise?
There you are.
Brent?
I would just ask that the court recommend to the Department of Corrections he be housed as close as possible to Leon County.
Okay. All right, Mr. Segura, based upon the jury verdict in this case on each of the 4 counts, I do adjudicate you guilty of each of those counts. On each count, I sentence you to life in prison. Counts 2, 3, and 4 will run concurrently with each other, but consecutively to count 1. So there'll be 2 consecutive sentences of life. As to count 1, you're given credit of 3,002 days. There's no credit as to 2, 3, and 4 counts 2, 3, and 4 since it's a consecutive sentence. Order $420 costs, $100 cost to prosecution, or reduce that amount to a civil judgment. I recommend to the Department of Corrections they house Mr. Segura as close to Leon County as is feasible. Does that leave anything outstanding?
Your Honor, we just had a question regarding the screen erected to ensure the integrity of the process as it related to Ms. Wilcoxon. Does that remain in effect, or is that expired with the end of the case now? Ms. Baker doesn't have any knowledge or information about what all happened with that. The court directed us to screen her from that. That will be part of
Okay.
the
I'll release that at this point. Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. There's also an outstanding warrant for Kelsey Kennard. We've already taken care of it on the international and the interstate aspect of it. We actually need you to withdraw the warrant as well.
You want it
We need you to
withdrawn?
withdraw the warrant, yes, sir.
Okay, withdraw the warrant as to Kelsey Kennard. All right, anything else from anybody?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Segura, you have 30 days. File notice of appeal. If you can't afford a lawyer, one would be appointed to represent you. Mr. Prince, I would assume you would discuss with him his appellate rights if he desires to file an appeal, that you assist him in doing so. At that point in time, you can decide whether you wish to request public defender to be appointed to represent him, or you're going to continue to represent him. If there's nothing further, we'll be in recess.